What if I told you one of the greatest talents in football is hiding in plain sight? That beneath the modest grin and shy exterior sits one of modern football's most lethal forwards. Julian Alvarez, La Araña, the Spider. A name that was not because of how he looks, but how he spins his web around the pitch to ensnare defenders in places they didn't want to be found. But there's something even more incredible about his story. Something that the bulk of football fans are overlooking. So this is not merely about a gifted Argentine forward. This is the story of a once not good enough player, a bookish boy living in the shadow of giants, who is now quietly becoming one of the most lethal attackers in world football.
Y si te parece buena pelota, habilitado Julián Álvarez, ahí está.
Julian Alvarez was born in Chalchín, a small town in Argentina's Córdoba province, and grew up like most Argentine children, with a ball at his feet and with dreams of playing beside his idol Lionel Messi. But unlike most children who have that dream, Alvarez would actually live it. At 2, he was kicking balls around his hometown when his journey truly began. There was something different about the way he played. His youth coach, Rafael Varas, remembers referees asking before games if the little spider was playing, already wary of his unusual talent for completely controlling the ball as though he had more than 2 legs. By age 11, European giants were taking notice of his talent. He caught the attention of Real Madrid, who brought him to train with their youth team and included him in a tournament in Spain. Madrid sought to sign him, but FIFA age restrictions made that impossible without his family moving. Rather than opting for the European fast lane, young Julian went back to Argentina. To be so close to one of the world's largest clubs and yet still be repatriated became a motif in Alvarez's career. Always within reach of the spotlight, yet always lurking in the shadows. Alvarez joined River Plate's academy when he was 15, older than most youth prospects. But what he lost in time, he gained with determination and natural ability. His early years with River's first team were reliable but far from obvious. 12 goals in 48 games. Then came 2021. But Alvarez burst onto the scene like a spider poised for a meal, scoring 24 goals in 46 appearances. The football world began to sit up and take notice. Here was a forward who didn't simply score goals, he made them, harried, pressed, showed tactical intelligence beyond his years.
Martínez, para vecino, qué pelota metió para Brian Álvarez, cantalo.
Manchester City already owned Alvarez's services by early 2022, but it was during the 2022 World Cup where he made his mark on the world stage. Playing alongside his childhood idol Lionel Messi, he netted 4 vital goals, including a spectacular brace in the semi-final against Croatia. Those who had not previously known of La Araña were now witnessing his lethal finishing, tireless work ethic, and technical genius. He wasn't merely contributing. He was a cornerstone of Argentina's first World Cup victory since 1986. Can you imagine that, kicking balls in a run to the little town to winning the World Cup playing with your idol? This was supposed to be Alvarez's moment to emerge from the shadows permanently. And yet somehow, the football world would continue to sleep on him. If you're enjoying our deep dive into one of football's most underrated stars, hit that like and subscribe button and ring that bell for notifications so you catch all of our football analysis videos. So let's continue untangling the thread of Julian Alvarez.
On he goes to Foden, on towards Alvarez! We're all going to Istanbul on June the 10th! It's a dream night for City!
At Manchester City, Alvarez arrived with World Cup glory, but found himself in an impossible situation competing with Erling Haaland, arguably the most prolific striker in world football. Despite his credentials, he was immediately labeled as a backup player, Haaland's shadow, or a rotation option. And here's where the story becomes really terrifying. Not for Alvarez, but for those who underestimated him. He only started 28 matches for City across all competitions, but hit the net 17 times in his first season, firing them to a historic treble. The next season, he added 19 goals and 13 assists in 54 appearances. Just let that sink in. A so-called backup player was putting up numbers most starting forwards salivate over. His versatility had been his most potent weapon, Pep Guardiola using him in a number of roles in the attack. But despite all that, when the biggest games came around, Alvarez frequently ended up on the bench. The player who had shown on the world's biggest stage was deemed not quite ready for Manchester City's biggest moments.
Gundogan, Alvarez stretching, and into the back of the net, Alvarez!
When Alvarez moved to Atletico Madrid for a reported 95 million euros in the summer of 2024, the fee was viewed with skepticism. Why 100% the money for Alvarez is outrageous. For me, he's not a world-class striker, said one pundit, echoing a sentiment shared by many football observers. Those doubts didn't exactly wane when Alvarez was benched for Atletico's first league game of the season. Had Diego Simeone committed a colossal error? Had the city engineered a master stroke by moving on a backup player for a record fee? What followed is what's rightfully called the terrifying part of the story. For opponents, that is. When Simeone implemented a pairing of Alvarez and Antoine Griezmann in a 4-4-2, it all clicked. The two linked instantly, and Alvarez soon became the focal point of Atletico's attack. His capacity to drop into midfield, link play, and finish clinically from within the penalty area gave Atletico a new attacking edge. He scored twice, including a dramatic winner in the 90th minute, that time against Bayern Leverkusen in the Champions League. It was more than just goals, though. His relentless pressing, clever movement, and versatility made him pivotal to Simeone's system.
Dealt with it. Julian Alvarez! It's 1-1! And the Metropolitano goes wild!
Atletico's strong Argentine presence with Rodrigo de Paul, Angel Correa, and Nahuel Molina helped ease his settling in Madrid. Their bond made him feel at home, and he quickly developed into a fan favorite at the Metropolitano. It's this sense of belonging, of now, at long last, being the main man rather than a side serving, that's opened a new level in Alvarez's game. His effort level, which often channels a young Sergio Aguero, embodies the aggressive and tireless approach Simeone often requires of his players. So what is the terrifying truth about Julian Alvarez that nobody is watching? Turns out, he's just a full forward, one who hasn't been given enough credit at any stage of his life. A player who, despite establishing his credentials at River Plate, with Argentina, and at Manchester City, is still doubted. A player who is mocked for his transfer fee, questioned for his abilities, and overlooked for his potential. The terrifying truth is that Julian Alvarez is 24 years old. He's still only now hitting his prime years. And his displays at Atletico point to the world-best center-forward potential. Given his scoring touch, intelligence, and dour readiness to run, he's well on his way to becoming an Atletico Madrid legend. It had seemed a risk for him to depart the city for another challenge, but so far, it's taken off spectacularly. The question now becomes, can he carry Atletico to glory in La Liga? And looking beyond this season's Champions League disappointment at the hands of their city rivals Real Madrid, could Alvarez be the missing piece that finally brings the long elusive Champions League trophy to a club that's been agonizingly denied in finals twice before? His journey at the Metropolitano is only beginning, with future European campaigns offering new opportunities to etch his name in Atletico folklore.
Álvarez, Masada, pelota para Quintero, atención, Quintero!
Time will tell, but one thing is for sure. Julian Alvarez is no longer just El Araña from Argentina. He's an international star, and his story isn't over yet. If you've made it this far, you clearly appreciate quality football content. Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our deep dives into the beautiful game. Drop a comment below sharing your thoughts on Julian Alvarez's journey and whether you think he can lead Atletico to glory this season. Until next time, this has been the scary truth about Julian Alvarez. Nobody is noticing.